There is a severe stress on water resources with increasing pressure of human population. The lands are getting either degraded or they are becoming wastelands due to inadequate management of water resources and over exploitation of the available water. So the water resources are divided into two different types. One is the surface water resources, next one is the groundwater resources. So let us see the drainage map that is being prepared by the Survey of India. So the drainage map is prepared by a Survey of India topographic maps on a scale of 1 is to 50,000. As you have seen in land surveying, it is being done for 1 is to maximum 1 million at level 1 in macro level. Similarly, here it is done for 1 is to 50,000. So all the streams, water streams and tanks existing in this study area are marked in this map. The water streams are further classified based on the stream ordering. These have been classified up to fourth order streams that exist in the study area. So most of the water streams right side of the state highway flow from northeast to southwest in the study area, and left side of the state highway southwest to northeast. So the canals, reservoirs, lakes haven't been considered in the study area. Only two rivers, namely Palleru and Ekkeru, are being considered. The drainage system existing is taken to be as dendritic nature, which is being obtained by the remote sensing system. The tank bunks are also marked in the mapping. These water bodies are divided into two areas. One is the dry area and second is the wet area. So wet area is that water spread. So the water spread changes from time to time, and some new tanks can be found in the satellite images. Next is the groundwater resources. Groundwater is a precious and the most widely distributed resource of the earth, and unlike any other mineral resource, it gets its annual replenishment from the meteorological precipitation, that is the rainfall. So this groundwater resource is the largest source of fresh water on the planet Earth, excluding the polar ice caps and glaciers. The only recharge of groundwater is precipitation, which is always lesser and erratic. As such, often if drought condition persists, it is essential that each drop of rainwater fallen on the ground is utilized properly for better water management. So here where the remote sensing and GIS comes into play, in order to find better groundwater resources or freshwater resources. So the recharge of water can be effectively done through the construction of mini percolation tanks, subsurface dams, and other recharge structures at feasible sites. So groundwater prospects of an area depend mainly on the lithology unit or the rock type occurring in that particular area. However, within each lithology unit, the groundwater conditions vary significantly depending upon the geomorphology, structure, slope, soil thickness, depth, nature of Nature of weathered material, presence of fractures or lineaments, surface water bodies, canals, irrigated areas, etc. So depending upon this, the lithology unit or rock type will vary. All the parameters of this study are studied and integrated to arrive at a better groundwater prospects. So the groundwater prospects mapping is divided into three. One is the low region, groundwater potential category as low. Another one is medium category. Another one is high category. So in low category, the percentage of water is around 9%. In medium category, it is 34%. In the high category, it is 57%. All the parameters that are integrated to arrive at a groundwater prospects in each geomorphic lithology unit are designated as hydrogeomorphic units. Except the dike ridge, all the geomorphic units present in this study belongs to granites and lithology unit of peninsular where dike ridge belongs to derolite dikes. The hydrogeomorphic units occurred in the study area are also described here. So let us see what is that study. The first study is that peneplain shallow weathered in granite genesis landscape. The peneplain is a gently undulating plain developed by the coalescence of several pediments. Since it is a shallow weathered, the thickness of the weathered zone is less than 10 meters always. The peneplains always form a good aquifers. Therefore, this unit is categorized as a good for groundwater prospects. Along the lineaments, groundwater prospects are even better. Next type of study that has been done was the valley fill shadow in granitic genesis landscape. So these are the valleys of different shapes and sizes occupied by fill material of partly deteriorated or partly weathered. Since it is shallow filled, the thickness of the filled material is less than 10 meters. This valley fills form good productive shallow aquifers. Topographically, the valleys have more recharge potential if check dams and percolation tanks are constructed across the valley. Therefore, this unit is categorized as good in groundwater prospects. Next is the pediment in granite genesis landscape. These are gently undulating plain dotted with rock outcrops with or without thin veneer of soil cover. In general, the groundwater prospects are moderate except Along the lineaments where it is even better. If the lineaments are present, they are good for water recharging. Next is pediment Inselberg complex in granitic Genesis landscape. So this pediment dotted with a number of Inselbergs that cannot be separated and mapped as individual units. This Inselberg as such is a runoff zone which do not permit infiltration. Because of this unit includes pediments, it is categorized as low in groundwater prospects. Along the lineaments, the groundwater prospects are even better. Next is the Inselberg in a granitic Genesis landscape. Inselberg is an isolated small hill of massive type rising abruptly from the surrounding plain. The Inselbergs are devoid of any structure and forms a rapid round-off zone. Hence, there are no prospects for groundwater occurrence and it is categorized as nil in groundwater prospects.
Anna, your test has been submitted successfully and slab time time முடிஞ்சு அது வேற வெளியே வந்துச்சு நான் எப்படி டெஸ்ட் கன்ஃபார்மா அப்படின்னு கேச்சு கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணேன்.
Next is the residual hill in granitic Genesis landscape. These are isolated hills that are formed due to differential weathering. The hills from a rapid runoff zone eliminates the chances of groundwater occurrences. Therefore, the overall groundwater prospects of the unities are categorized as nil. Next is the denudational hill in granitic Genesis landscape. These hills are formed due to differential erosion and weathering, so that more resistance formations stand as hills. These hills act as a runoff zone with low groundwater occurrences. But along the narrow valleys of these hills, there is a chance for groundwater occurrence, where this unit is categorized as nil in groundwater prospects. Dink Ridge in dolomitic landscape. Dink Ridge is formed by narrow ridge of dolerites. The Dink Ridge are encountered in southern part of the study area. The general direction of Dink Ridge is east-west to northwest-southeast. This Dink has no groundwater prospects as it is a runoff zone. So it also acts as a barrier for groundwater movement and improves the potential in the upstream. The overall groundwater prospects of this unit is also categorized as nil. So depending on all these modelings, the watershed development and modeling was being given. Since water is a limited resource, watershed is the basic scientific unit for water shedding. We need to have a proper planning and management system. For that, an integrated watershed development approach is necessary. Nowadays, digital revolution is being come up, so the advances in remote sensing and GIS, usage of computers, models are being done for proper watershed management. So, what are the watershed development parameters? Are that the size, shape, physiography, climate, drainage, land usage, vegetation, geology, soils, hydrology, hydrogeology, and socio-economic status. All plays a major role equally and abruptly for development of watershed management. So let us see the attributes, the parameter, and its relevance in watershed management. So the size is an attribute and the parameter is an area. The relevance is that the available rainfall, runoff, sedimentation is all being occurred due to the size. Next is the shape. The geometric form, shape index form factor, which are being obtained due to rainfall or water stagnation, is being created. The runoff and sedimentation is the relevance. The physiography and the slope. So the mean elevation, slope, relief length is the attribute parameter with relevance of runoff and sedimentation. Next is the drainage. The drainage pattern and density, the stream order contributes to runoff and sedimentation. The geology, the presence of rocks, rock beds, soil structures all contributes to runoff and sedimentation. The soil, the texture, moisture capability, depending upon different types of textures, moisture levels, capabilities of the soil to absorb water, all gives relevance towards land degradation, production potential, runoff and sedimentation. Next attribute is the land use, and the parameter is that present land use, wasteland, surface water. All these parameters are relevant to runoff and sedimentation. Then is the groundwater. So the groundwater is an important potential for recharging as well as for irrigation. So these 9 parameters or attributes are important in watershed management. So now let us see what is this watershed management. An application or an important development called integrated watershed development. So it is a conservation of water depending upon the requirements. So till this attributes, any queries, any doubts or any queries, you can type in chat box. Since there are no queries in the chat box, I proceed on to the next topic. Which is the integrated watershed development. So the main objective of this is that to provide our basic needs given economical growth with good economical balance. So the information needed for that is that the natural physical resources available, the contemporary technology which uses water, and the social, economic, and demographic data that is utilizing the water. So the natural physical resources are your soil, geology, geomorphology, groundwater, land use, land cover, rainfall, climate, drainage, the wastewater, the watershed, the slope, aspect and altitude of water, transport network and settlement of humans. So all these informations can be obtained by thematic map information, which is your a part of your remote sensing. These are being integrated as a composite land development unit. Then the contemporary technology are that what this water does. This water is used for agriculture. With water, we give it for animal husbandry, we use it for fisheries, we use for mineral exploration, we use for housing construction, we use it to generate energy power, we use it for health and sanitation, we always do water harvesting, and we do water management system also for drinking and utilization. So the natural or physical resource of the water is being collected based on the development possibility resource regions. They are being segregated and given to the next level of resource management decision. That depends upon the social, economic, and demographic data. The spatial analysis of social economic data like the social profile, the demographic profile, the cultural profile, and the economic status. The people's need, what does this social, economic, and demographic data gives? Is that it gives information about the people's need and programs region identified. The social backward areas or people, the economically backward people or areas, the people who lack the basic communities. So depending upon that, the classification is done. Then accordingly, this integrated watershed development management will give plans, projects, and implement through the usage of technology. Then they train or retrain the users. Then evaluation feedback is being collected. So the watershed demarcation is done based upon the water delineation systems. So if the water delineation system is from 1.5 square kilometer to 12 lakh square kilometer, it comes under region. And if the water present is 0.3 to 3 lakh square kilometer, it comes under basins. If it is from 0.1 to 0.5 lakh square kilometer, it is catchment areas. If it is 2000 to 10,000 square kilometers, it is subcatchment area. If it is 500 to 2000 square kilometer, it is watershed. We can consider there itself. If it is 50 to 500 square kilometer, it is sub watershed. If it is 10 to 50 square kilometer, it is mini watershed. If it is 5 to 10 square kilometer, it is micro watershed. So this is your demarcation lines. That is segregation of water into major drainage areas, basins, catchment areas, watershed areas. You can see the same watershed development. The characteristics are classified based on watershed, sub-watershed, milli-watershed, micro-watershed, and mini-watershed. The watershed modeling has these three steps to be followed. One is formulation, next is calibration or verification, third one application. And the model constitutes watershed model consists of input function, output function, and a transform function. So this is the model of a simple watershed model given by Macon in the year 1989. Rainwater is falling, it forms precipitation, that water is collected, interception storage, then surface storage, then it is given to surface runoff or interflow, and it is given to ground water storage. Then infiltration occurs and the interflow, then that can be given to directly to a direct runoff to the channel processes, which is your rivers or lakes, connectivity to lakes, rivers, ponds, mini watersheds or micro watersheds. So they in turn mini watershed or micro watershed connect to the base catchment areas, then to the basins. Heat is evaporation. So there are three models that classify the watershed modeling. One is the black box model, second one lumped model, third one distributed model. The black ball models describe mathematically the relationship between rainfall and surface runoff without describing the physical process by which they are related. Example, a unit hydrograph approach. In the lumped models that occupy an intermediate position between distributed models and black box models, example Stanford watershed model. Next is the distributed models. These models are based on complex physical theory that is based on the solution of unsteady flow equations. The background of the watershed, integrated watershed management. So before starting the integrated watershed management, if there are any queries, type in chat box. If there are any queries, I'll address that. Then we'll go on to the integrated watershed management. Okay, since no queries in the chat box, I proceed on to the next topic.
Water and agriculture work together to produce food and fiber for the world. Water can be tricky. There's either too much of it or not enough. But there's a new conservation practice designed to let producers truly manage tile. Water and agriculture work together to produce food and fiber for the world. Water can be tricky. There's either too much of it or not enough. But there's a new conservation practice designed to let producers truly manage tile water. It's called Drainage Water Management, or DWM for short. And it's a new practice endorsed by USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS. It can help farmers increase yields, conserve water, and reduce nutrient loss, while they cut the amount of nitrates leaving crop fields through underground drainage ties. Farmers install water level control structures in tile lines, turn the drainage system on and off at different times of the year. Let's look underground to see how one works. After harvest, when there is little concern of the soil being too wet, stop logs are inserted into the structure to hold more water in the soil profile, raising the level of groundwater. In the spring, shortly before planting, stop logs are removed to drain the soil more fully. After planting, the stop logs are inserted again to potentially store more water for crops. Stop logs can be removed again before harvest if the soil is wet. Farmer Mark Wessel uses drainage water management on his operation. He has 2 units on 100 acres of his farm in southeast Missouri. He adjusts groundwater levels as needed to permit field work and make more groundwater available to crops.
The water control structure, the boxes are very easy to work with. It takes 1 minute at each box to raise or lower your water table. Drainage water management system says it in its name, management. You have to manage your stop log blocks. The water quality leaving, benefiting our natural resources by cleaner water leaving our property, thus helping the environment.
I think what drainage water management does is give farmers the tools to be able to actively control water, both excess and deficit throughout the year, which they really never had before. So it brings a whole new level of management capability to their operation.
Water level and inline control structures can be used with tile systems or retrofitted to existing tile. These structures can reduce total water flow volume over a year by 20 to 40% or more, achieving up to a 40% reduction in downstream nitrate loading. And conservation drainage has the potential to increase yields as much as 10% or more in dry years. Drainage water management offers benefits for both agriculture and the environment. Benefits include potential yield increases, reduced risk during weather extremes, possible environmental trading credits, USDA incentives, protection of community water resources, better soil health and vegetative growth, and cleaner water. So remember, tile drainage doesn't have to be a 24/7, year-round, all-or-nothing proposition anymore. Now you can turn your drainage system on and off to have more water when you need it for the crop, and at the same time, improve your ability to cut the amount of nitrates leaving your farm.
Yeah, I hope the video on the drainage water management would have given you an idea about what the watershed management and the integrated watershed management is planning for. Okay. I'll give you the link for this since the audio is very much lower. I'll give the link in the chat box. You can go through it later also. So the next topic is the sewage from household. Let us see.
Sewer networks have expanded substantially in low and middle income countries around the world, but many households are still not connected. Even when the sewer networks have expanded substantially in low and middle income countries around the world, but many households are still not connected, even when these networks pass right in front of their homes. As a result, neither they nor the cities they live in perceive the health, environmental, and economic benefits of the service. Utilities, governments, and their partners are tackling this challenge and connecting the unconnected through a variety of approaches. In Sao Paulo and Espírito Santo, Brazil, connecting to available sewerage networks has been mandatory. But, like in many other cities around the world, households fail to connect to existing networks for different reasons. Some already have an alternative, albeit inadequate, sanitation system. Others lack awareness of the importance of connecting or the funds to do so. Both state utilities have launched their own Connect to the Network programs to encourage residents to take advantage of the service for better health and quality of life and to protect the local environment. In Sao Paulo, the connections for low-income households are entirely subsidized by the state.
A gente entra na campanha, a gente faz isso. Baixa a gasto central, sancionamento das instalações hidráulicas, com relação à condição técnica de ligar os esgotos à rede coletora. Você acaba atendendo pessoas, vão acabar tendo receita para a própria empresa. E essas famílias atendidas, elas pagam só pelo dia. É a mudança de abordagem, que a gente testou e nesse caso não certo.
Paga a conta, a taxa mínima, se gastar mais, se paga mais. Melhorou, as crianças não ficam mais alagadas, pisando mais porcaria, se contaminando, né? Melhora a qualidade de vida, da comunidade.
A CESAM resolveu implantar o Se Liga na Rede com um novo conceito de envolver a comunidade, trabalho de folheteria, passando por cinema, passando por reuniões com todo o trabalho que levar essa mobilização.
O CESAM faz o contato com o cliente, orienta ele com relação à necessidade de ligação do esgoto, né, ao sistema de esgotamento da CESAM. Isso é o nosso trabalho, está fazendo a orientação, qual é a importância para preservar o meio ambiente, fazer o tratamento do esgoto, né?
First years of the program, CESAM was able to subsidize low-income families to retrofit their households and connect to the network. The majority of these families also benefited from what we just did.
Eu recebi comunicação através da mídia no sentido de que as praias poderiam se beneficiar com essa instalação das redes. Posteriormente, eu recebi a carta da visita que seria para fazer a instalação na minha residência. Em cima disso aí, que eu aproveitei o embalo e dei autorização para fazer a instalação da rede na minha casa.
Engaging with the community, taking the time to understand the barriers that keep residents from connecting and what would motivate them to connect, and then taking this knowledge and adapting the program to address these concerns. This is how we can successfully connect the unconnected.
This was another video in which the sewage system was connected to every households, so that are being taken to a remote places, then they are being recycled for human usage, such that the beaches, the lakes, ponds doesn't get polluted. So now let us see so the two video links that we have seen now, I put up in chat box. You can have them.
Karnataka, the 8th largest state, is in the southwestern part of India, out of the total area of 19.
So any queries can type in chat box. I'll give you another 5 or 6 minutes of time. Any queries, type in chat box. Later we'll move on to the next topic. Since there are no queries found, I move on to the next topic.
Karnataka, the eighth largest state, is in the southwestern part of India. Out of the total area of 19.2 million hectares, about 65% is available for cultivation, and out of this, more than 60% is under rain-fed cultivation. This vast stretch of rain-fed tract, which extends from Bidar in the north to Chamarajnagar district in the south, is the most drought-prone area of the country, next only to Rajasthan. In this chronically drought-affected area, sustaining the productivity of land resources and livelihood opportunities is a huge challenge due to the extent of degradation witnessed and competing land uses. Among the various forms of degradation, soil erosion is rampant in black and red soils. The severity of sheet and rill erosion has removed most of the finer soil particles and nutrients from the soil, resulting in the exposure of rocks and hard-lime substratum to the surface. This has led to the development of large tracts of degraded lands in black and red soil regions. The off-site impact of erosion is equally devastating and responsible for the widespread occurrence of inland salinity. The deposition of finer soil materials in low-lying areas and along the streams affects the normal flow of water and drainage, resulting in the formation of saline soils and barren lands in the arid rain-fed areas of the state. The factors responsible for the degradation of resources and constraints affecting crop yield are not uniform and varies significantly in the landscape. Since the land resources are not uniform, site-specific information pertaining to soil, water, land use, socio-economic condition, and other resources is a prerequisite for planning and execution of watershed, horticulture, agriculture, and other like departmental interventions at the farm level. Lack of such information is the main cause for the failure of most of the developmental programs designed and implemented with huge budget outlays. In this context, World Bank supported Karnataka Watershed Development Project 2, popularly known as Sujala 3, is taken up to empower the watershed department in preparing science-based development plans through the generation of site-specific land resource database using remote sensing, GIS, field survey, and mapping techniques. Development of digital library and decision support system for advisory. Establishment of LRI portal, web and mobile applications for information dissemination. Development of tools, techniques, and packages for hydrological monitoring and technology transfer. And strengthening the interventions of watershed, horticulture, agriculture, and other line departments in rain-fed areas. Sujala 3 project is implemented by Watershed Development Department from 2013 to 14 onwards in 11 districts of the state with 527.67 crore rupees through 5 different components. It is executed by a consortium of 14 state and national level institutions having domain expertise from different fields as required for the project. The National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning leads the land resource inventory and the Indian Institute of Science on hydrology-related activities. Land resource inventory is the core of the project. The base map for LRI is prepared by superimposing the cadastral map on the satellite imagery of the watershed after delineating major landforms like hills, ridges, uplands, midlands, lowlands, and valleys on the base map. The watershed area is traversed by the LRI team to verify the landform units, select locations for transects from ridge to valley, and representative fields for profile study. During traverse, any change in slope, erosion, drainage, soil texture, salinity, cropping pattern, and land use details are identified and delineated. indicated on the map. The soil profiles from representative fields along the transect are excavated to a depth of 2 meters and characterized for their morphological and physical properties like soil color, texture, structure, gravel content, presence of mottles, roots, etc. from the surface to the bottom of the profile. This exercise is continued throughout the watershed area, and based on the profile study, similar soils occurring in the watershed are grouped as one soil series. The soils present in a watershed can vary from shallow to very deep, loamy to clay, gravelly to non-gravelly. Apart from variations in color and other properties, soil samples are collected from representative pedons and grid points for laboratory characterization. The soil samples received from the fields are processed in the laboratory and analyzed for the content of sand, silt and clay, soil reaction, electrical conductivity, moisture retention, nutrient status, and other properties. Based on soil site characteristics, the land parcels having similar soil, site, and land use characteristics are grouped as one management unit, and soil map prepared by assigning separate colors for each unit. The soil unit is the most homogeneous one at the field level for taking up any interventions. The soil map shows the spatial distribution and extent of different management units occurring in a watershed area and forms the basis for designing interventions at the watershed level. Socio-economic survey with the help of standard pro forma and tablets is carried out through household survey, personal contacts and group meetings to collect household details, income from different sources, cropping pattern followed, acceptance level of the schemes implemented in their fields, and other basic information. The weather and climatic data is collected from the telemetric rain gauges and automatic weather stations established in the project districts. Soil moisture at different depths during the cropping season. Real-time monitoring of surface soil moisture through satellite sensors, runoff data for rainfall events, dynamics of groundwater recharge and depletion. Crop growth parameters are collected from model watersheds established in the project area. From the LRI database and information collected from other sources, thematic maps on erosion, salinity, nutrient status, land capability, and land suitability for different crops are generated with the help of dedicated GIS facilities established in LRI partner institutions. The spatial and non-spatial database generated from 2,531 micro-watersheds, covering an area of about 13 lakh hectares, is made available to the Watershed Development Department, Horticulture, Agriculture, and other line departments, farmers, and other stakeholders in the form of LRI reports, atlas, CDs, DVDs, guides, brochures, LRI cards, etc., for dissemination of LRI information to all stakeholders and for developing decision support systems. The above information is migrated to the digital library and portal, which is established under Sujalam 3 project. The development of decision support system is very crucial for providing advisories to the farmers and planners on real-time basis. 9 decision support systems have been developed by integrating multiple data layers from LRI and other sources. The DSS on soil and water conservation planning is developed by integrating soil, site, land use, and rainfall characteristics with criteria for deciding the type of conservation structures. This helps to identify the type of conservation structures needed, their design and cost estimate for both arable and non-arable lands. DSS for nutrient management helps to identify the deficiency or sufficiency levels of nutrients present in each parcel of land, amount of nutrients required for the selected crop, combination of organic and inorganic fertilizers to be used with their cost, time of application, and package of practices to be followed during the entire crop season. The farmer can get the required advisory through his mobile phone or from the nearest KVK or farmers' contact centers. The decision support system required for crop planning is developed by matching the LRI information with crop suitability criteria for different crops. The suitability assessment shows the degree of suitability or non-suitability of the resources for the selected crop, which enables the farmer and line departments to choose the best suited crop or combination of crops in a watershed along with constraints or limitations present. Measures to overcome the same and appropriate package of practices to be followed to get the maximum yield for the selected crop. The decision support system on check dam helps to decide the number of structures needed at different stream order levels in a watershed. This is based on the balance runoff available at each stream order after allowing the environmental flow and the amount retained by the existing and proposed conservation structures in the watershed area. This helps to decide not only the number of check dams required in a watershed, but also prevents the indiscriminate construction of check dams as is being practiced at present. The quality of the detailed project report is critical for the success of any watershed program. Earlier interventions were more of general nature due to the non-availability of site-specific information. In this context, the preparation of DPR with the use of site-specific information and advisories from Sujana 3 project is a game changer. As for Sujana, the DPR is prepared by using the LRI information and advisories available from reports, atlas, digital library, portal, and DSS. The DPR provides survey number-wise conservation plan, crop plan, nutrient management plan, and other interventions required for the integrated development of soil, water, and other resources at the watershed level. The DPR is implemented in selected watersheds on saturation mode as per the interventions suggested to cover the entire watershed area. This has helped to take up planned soil and water conservation measures like continuous trenching, contour bunding, graded and trench bunding, terracing, etc., palm ponds and check dams. Choose and promote the best suited crop or combination of crops at the survey number level, address the site and crop specific nutrient deficiencies with appropriate package of practices and other livelihood activities as recommended in the DPR and appropriate to the watershed area. The use of LRI outputs in watershed development has significantly reduced the time frame required for planning and implementation of watershed activities from 6 to 7 years earlier to about 3 years now under Sujana project. Apart from this, the design of structures as per the requirement of the area has greatly reduced the overall cost of the interventions in the watershed area. Planning and implementation of the entire spectrum of horticultural activities, ranging from crop production, crop demonstration, soil health improvement, irrigation scheduling, post-harvest management, like grading and packaging, value addition and marketing based on the LRI outputs and advisories have brought in significant gains to the farmers in the project districts. More than the visible impacts of Sujala project, its stellar role is reflected in the sphere of empowerment of farmers and other stakeholders at the grassroots level. This is expected to bring in a paradigm shift in not only changing the attitude of the farmers in the way they manage the resources at present, but also by planners and decision makers to move towards more science-based, iterative, and informed decision-making level. The immediate and long-term implications of Sujana 3 project for planning and implementation of land-based programs have been recognized by various line departments within the state and outside. Already, many states are adopting the tools and techniques developed under this project in their watershed programs. All this has brought in broader recognition at the national and international levels to Sujana 3 project and Watershed Development Department, Government of Karnataka. The Sujana family gratefully acknowledges the support of the World Bank team for promoting this project, which has brought in many innovations and disruptive technologies to the fore for the sustainable management of land resources in the country in the future.
Water, one of the most freely available resources on the planet, is ironically scarce. According to the World Health Organization, as of 2015, 663 million people worldwide live without access to safe water, and $260 billion of annual global economic losses are associated with inadequate water supply and sanitation. Almost every living being on this planet needs water for survival. With climate change and erratic rainfall patterns, the problem of water scarcity is only increasing. This has had a severe negative impact on rural people as it adversely affects agriculture, the primary occupation of rural communities. This brings us to the importance of watershed management. A watershed, also known as a drainage basin, is an area of land where surface water drains down to a common body of water, like a stream, river, lake, or an ocean. Managing this helps in conserving water and preventing soil erosion. The Corbett Foundation, TCF, is dedicated to the conservation of India's wildlife and reducing human-wildlife conflict, and works in some of the important wildlife areas. Its programs are focused in the areas of wildlife conservation, environmental awareness, vocational training and livelihoods, veterinary services, rural health, watershed management, and sustainable eco-development, with an intent to address issues related to the delicate human-wildlife interface. With support from Anandana Coca-Cola India Foundation, TCF has implemented a watershed management project in 5 villages fringing the Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve in Manpur block of Umaria district in Madhya Pradesh. Agriculture is a primary source of sustenance of this population, and it is primarily rain-fed due to unavailability of irrigation water and systems. Rain-fed agriculture is complex, diverse, risk-prone, and characterized by low productivity and low input usage, resulting in poor agricultural produce.
Local people in this area totally depend on rainwater for the agriculture purpose, and that's why they are not able to practice the agriculture around the year, and they involve in the various livelihood activities which have like a dependence on forest, and they are putting enormous pressure on the forests. To practice the round the year agriculture in this area, they need the water supply. So the Corbett Foundation, with the kind support of the Coca-Cola India Foundation, started this watershed project in this Manpur block area. And under this program, we are providing like irrigation facilities for the 5 villages. And under the project, we are constructing 11 structures. So this structure will collect the rainwater and provide the water for the local people around the year, so they can more involved in the agriculture and have less pressure on the forests. For this, on behalf of the Corbett Foundation and the local people of this area, I thank the Coca-Cola India Foundation.
Also, the soil in this area is prone to erosion due to the undulating topography and poor soil management practices. Under this project, check dams and farm ponds were constructed, which has resulted in water conservation through recharge of groundwater reserves, as well as consistent availability of water for year-round farming and other domestic uses. The availability of irrigation water has increased the area of cultivated land in the target villages, as people have started farming on fallow lands. To check soil erosion and degradation of the land, field bunds were also constructed. This has improved agricultural produce and has resulted in primary reliance on agriculture for profitable sustenance. It has also reduced the dependence of this community on forests, resulting in their economic upliftment, community mobilization in management of local water, ultimately cooperation of locals in conservation efforts.
यहाँ पर जब हम लोग सर्वे कर रहे थे तो पानी की काफी सारी स्थिति जो अच्छी नहीं थी और टोटल सूखा रहता था। हम लोगों ने सर्वे किया, डिजाइन किया और आफ्टर दैट हम लोग यहाँ पे स्टॉप डैम निर्माण कर चुके हैं। इस स्टॉप डैम का पानी जो है लगभग 1300-1400 मीटर पीछे तक भरा हुआ है और लगभग 4 गांव को इस पानी से 4 गांव के किसान को लगभग फायदा मिल रहा है। हमारे प्रोजेक्ट का उद्देश्य है जो वाटर लेवल है उसको इंक्रीज करना है, जो रेन वाटर है उसको रोकना है, उसको वेस्ट नहीं होने देना है और ज्यादा से ज्यादा किसान उसका लाभ ले सके ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज। इस हमारा उद्देश्य है।
कार्बेटर फाउंडेशन द्वारा जो स्टाफ डैम और तालाब का निर्माण किया गया है, किसानों को बहुत लाभ है और गांव वाले हम भी संतुष्ट हैं इस कार्य से। स्टाफ डैम बनने से बहुत लोगों की यहाँ बहुत लाभ है और हरियाली है।
पेड़ बनान जो बनाया हूँ तो बारिश का पानी अच्छा रुकता है और पैदावार अच्छा होता है।
जब से तालाब का ये निर्माण हुआ तो हमारी धान की फसल अच्छी फसल इससे आई, गेहूं की फसल का मौका है तो इस तालाब से ही पानी का यूज किया गया और इससे हमारी गेहूं की फसल लहलहा रही है।
Thus, by implementing effective programs of water conservation, soil conservation, and involvement of local communities in management of water and soil resources, DCF is working towards sustainable development of forest-dependent communities, in turn conserving our natural resources for posterity.